Shower me with echo. Let my name echo in song. Dare to mess with me? Ha! Gears of the storm. Sakura swirl. My apologies. Ha! Yeah! Benny's Adventure Team, assemble!
I'm still more likely to swirl Hydro than Cryo here, huh?
Quietly now.
Stand with me. Committed to memory. Sharing my knowledge. I'm here, please. Life lasts forever. I'll settle this. This way.
Busted.
I see everything.
Here comes the catch. Quietly now.
Get with me. Draw. Yeah.
Oh, here you are. Did you manage to land a lucky pull on the welfare meals tonight?
Let's just get straight to the point. Has anything else happened with this?
Patience, Paimon. Even as the situation continues to brew, I'm actually still thinking about the first thing that came to my mind when I noticed something amiss. Namely, why didn't anyone come to me about it?
Oh, that's a good point. Could whatever...
But even if such a thing existed, how could they be so sure with... It'd be one thing if it was just one or two people, but it seems like everyone's... Which leads me to believe that it's more likely that they think I just wouldn't care to help them. Yes, something like that. Dugier must have told them something to make them think I won't take their... So it became imperative for me to refute that and prove my true stance. Of course, I had originally planned to do this in a more covert way, but I had to improvise when you identified the guy who'd lost his hat with everyone present. There was no way to keep our investigation a secret after that.
That makes sense.
The last thing that guy wanted was for Dugier to find out that he'd lost it. He would have never brought the matter up on his own. But now, not only has Dugier found out that he'd lost his hat, that likely set his internal alarms off all at once. Yes, that's the conclusion I came to as well. It's the only thing that could explain the fear. If we didn't act right then and there, Dugier would probably come up with some other way to hide the truth and we'd be back to... So after giving the matter some thought, I tossed that black gem onto the ground. I must say, I was pretty satisfied with the results.
Ah, so you did that on purpose?
Yes, that's right. Of course, that box was discovered as part of our investigation of the society. I had no way to know if any of the members had actually seen the gem before, but since I had to do something, I decided to get right. And I said back there that I had no idea what the gem represented. That should have been enough to let people know that it's still... And since I was traveling with you, heroes who have never turned a blind eye, they would also understand that we're here to help, rather than to tolerate or...
You used us as a part of your plan, too!
My apologies. There was no time and quite a lot to explain, but I can assure you that I've now told you everything there... Of course, you're under no obligation, but I would really appreciate it if you could continue... Would you be willing to lend me your support?
But Paimon's still mad at you!
You have my thanks. Now, There are still two outstanding matters in our investigation. The first is the secret of the hats. I've examined one before. There was nothing suspicious about the other is the true purpose of the black gem. It's my hope that a brave fish will take my bait, and then I'll put some music on while we wait.
Fancy. He's got a phonograph. Being in full screen means I can't just casually toss away my mouse cursor.
Excuse me, Your Grace, but may I come in? I'm afraid that someone's been
Please, do.
I apologize for my lack of composure. Yes, my lover Fasol told me all about you. Please.
Slow down, take a deep breath, and start from the top.
I'm sorry, Your Grace. I will try.
You mean when we saw him at the gap?
Yes, he fled immediately. But many members are... Thankfully, he still managed to meet up with
Who's
me and
Fasol?
explain everything that had happened. Now that he's lost Dugier's trust, what awaits him is agonizing.
Censure?
Censure is Dugier's method of establishing control. Rather than listening to me explain what it is, Your Grace, please. Every secret may be found within...
Here you are. I was wondering where you had run off to in such... Please excuse us, Your Grace. It was never our intention to disturb you like this. She rambles often, has hallucinations. It may be best to dismiss her babbling as random gibberish.
I don't recall hearing a knock or giving permission for you to come in.
Oh, my apologies. I merely did not wish for Your Grace to be alarmed. Had I not been so focused on recovering her, I would have followed all the rules of etiquette to the letter. So please, forgive my discourtesy.
Like we believe you.
Please, there's no need to be upset. It's only natural to want to side with the poor sick girl, but I know...
Well then, what if the reasonable man wants to hear the lunatic out?
That would be perfectly fine with me. Oh, and just so you know, we've also found the missing Mr. Fasol. I had thankfully, he has already returned to his senses. We've brought him back to our place, so there's no need.
I'm sorry, Your Grace.
Why is
I
this
don't
song
have
the one
anything
that's
more to
playing?
say.
This is what you're afraid of, correct? You can tell me everything. I'll do all I can.
I've never seen that thing in my life.
Your Grace, I don't think there's anything else you would like to
It's all right, Avise. As long as you tell me what it is that no matter what it is, it will no longer be able to hurt you.
Your Grace, forget it. I'll keep my mouth shut.
I'm sorry, Your Grace, but I really don't have anything more to say.
But why?
In that case, Avise and I will be off. Once again, please accept...
Miss Avise, please show me your head. That is an order. There's nothing there.
Your Grace, I know you have long tired of my words, but please believe me when the Society has never caused trouble for you or any of the guards of the fortress. Why are you doing everything in your power to prove our guilt? I'll do anything for you, as long as you give me the word.
Your words bore me. You know the consequences if I find you to...
Everything that I do for the fortress of Meropide. All right, Avise. Let's head back.
Just what's up with that guy? He makes Paimon really real. We should have
Why are we
shown him
suddenly
his
so
goods.
confrontational?
Sooner or later, all will pay the price for their error. He must have been well prepared for this exact scenario, or he wouldn't have dared to be so openly hostile. All the more, the entire society are his hostages. His subordinates would definitely react if he were taken into custody. And that's why he dared to bare his fangs
Oh,
right
God.
in front of me.
Finally finished downloading. Gosh, what's with gacha games being super loud?
The true secret of the society is neither on the hat nor on the members' heads. Dugier probably knew this from the very beginning, which is why, however, if we were to look at the rules, it would also seem like the head has to be the place where they're keeping all—
Yeah, none of this makes sense to Paimon.
Oh, we're doing this again from Sumeru.
The hats are definitely being used to hide a secret.
I guess this is
There's nothing wrong with the hats themselves.
to fill in the the Lumine voice acting.
But if there's nothing on her head, why did Avis feel the need to remove her hat? From the way Dugier acted, he must have known from the beginning that we wouldn't be able to find any evidence.
Associate with what? The hat? A hair clip?
I have an idea, but—
Huh? What is it? Tell Paimon about it!
You mean this thing? So, she handed a key piece of evidence over to us without Dugier noticing. That would mean that Avis didn't stay silent out of fear. She stayed silent because she'd already— Let me take a look.
Did we actually see her take
I
off the
managed
clip?
to remove this from the hair clip.
Or did they do
It's long,
what JoJo
slender,
likes to do
conical,
and
is
never
hollow
actually
on the
showed it?
inside, and looks something like a cross between
I
a
don't really
nail
care.
and a thorn.
Paimon's lasting.
Let's see. What if we do this?
Hey, what are you doing? Wait. Some kind of dark lit? And some of it has been absorbed by this thorny-looking thing.
You've probably heard before that water is filled with the strongest emotions of humanity.
Really, water
With that
again?
in mind, this liquid is probably a highly concentrated solution of fear.
Oh, so that's why even touching it will make you remember unpleasant things.
Dugier would be able to
I thought I've had
censure
enough
others.
of
I can
super
only
bad,
imagine how it
ultra
would feel
icky
to have
water.
this directly injected into your brain. The moment it hits you would be like being flooded with all the terrors you've ever experienced in your life. Agony, desolation, and an overwhelming sense of despair.
So, was the hat meant to cover up their wounds?
That might not even be all. Let's go get them right away. We can't let Dugier escape with all of the evidence.
I mean, that's actually pretty fitting for what's happening. Oh. Lovely.
Your Grace, we have taken the Society members into custody. They all tried to flee just a little while ago, as if they had received some kind of order. We decided to forestall their plan, and we're just about to send the word when you...
Great work, everyone.
You had prepared for something like this, so
I had them stay here to keep an eye on things. So I'm glad. Perform a thorough search of the Society's headquarters and bring all the...
Understood, Your Grace.
Now, let's check on them. As expected, they all have a hollow thorn inserted into a wound on their head.
Paimon's glad her eyesight isn't so good that she can see it from here. Paimon's gonna float away for a bit.
They probably left it there as a lasting reminder of Dugier's censure. These people must have had to endure an unimaginable amount of pain. Let's go check out the other areas, too.
And by that, he means we're gonna do this bullshit.
Hey, come here. Have a look at this. This is a book that Paimon found in a box next to the bookshelf. The colors of the covers are completely different, though, and the names of the authors are... Yeah! And they dared to claim that they wrote...
Look at what I found. This is a surveillance port. With this, Dugier would be able to remotely monitor everything that's happened. So even if Dugier's not there in person, he'll still always have eyes on the map. Indeed. It's easy to become lost and confused when you're given no instructions and if any action you take may be deemed a mistake. And perhaps that Dugier has already tamed them to his will.
Your Grace! Your Grace!
What's the matter?
We couldn't find any Society members in the other areas. It also seems like none of the equipment in those rooms were ever used. The lime scale, the layers of dust. They were all deliberately... We also investigated the members' residences and weren't able to find anything. Their neighbors all say that they haven't...
Oh,
They're gone? That could only mean...
indeed. As long as he allowed Society members to mingle with others, even with threats of censure, Dugier knew that he couldn't stop all of his members. Meanwhile, this marvelous gathering place will lose all of its value as soon as a whistleblower sounds the alarm. So instead of being his real base, this is just an elaborate performance. The rest areas, and only the most docile and well-trained members were selected.
But then, where can we actually find...
Let me think. Dugier must be holding all the rest of his members in another place. And if the overseer of my... He must be in Dugier's pocket. I'm of the same mind. Let's go. You two, follow me.
They go too far down.
Did that person flee here?
That's the most likely scenario to me. He's probably already caught wind of Let's keep heading down. There are some abandoned areas in there. Since he needs... we should be on the right track. Let's go. We can take this path.
Really, we're walking. The walking simulator sections are the worst.
Look! There's a fallen
They're
guard
literally
over there.
just there to pad for time.
After them!
It's rising. Run!
You are very slow.
Did Dugier send you? Why did you...
Come on! It's time to talk!
I will take your cooperation into consideration when it comes time to hand...
Mr. Dugier, he didn't want this guy to expose our true... We were just about to dispose of him when you...
So, in other words, your headquarters should be this way.
Yes, it's just down this way. You'll make it there once you've seen him.
Guards, take them away.
It could be a trap.
Let's go. It's about time that we find out...
Oh, it's not like we've got a choice. In more ways than one.
I have high hopes for this journey.
Let's go get ourselves some answers.
Nearer to the action is closer to the truth. There's so much space down here.
Yeah, these are all former work areas. They've been left abandoned due to a lack of There are usually guards on patrol here. Stay sharp. He's got a ton of surprises.
Busted!
Hold that pose! Hard-hitting exclusive!
Quietly now.
Strike a pose! Germinate!
Things are about to get dicey.
Time to shine! Say cheese!
On the way now. Still get a little chilly.
Hey, are you okay?
You're safe now. Just follow the guard.
Who knew that there'd be Gardamex here? Dugier really prepared for everything.
And that would explain the strange decommission requests I received, as well as account for all the Gardamex that have mysteriously... Seems like he's prepared for an all-out confrontation with...
Hey, what's this?
Seems like some kind of handbook. Let me see. Ah, this should be the Society's real rules book. It lists members are not permitted to speak to each other or to leave without 5 members shall form a group, and the whole group will be punished for any single member. Anyone who reports a fellow member's misbehavior shall be rewarded with food and water. I see. So it's much as I expect.
But that's just cruel and
To obtain food and water, prisoners are forced to snitch on others, and in the process to avoid punishment, they learn to stop talking with one another. This leaves the wounds they've already received to fester, however. And so, finally, isolated and without hope, they accept their fate as Dujie's. Do you remember what happened to Paimon? She rejected all the snacks in the box once she was spooked by that black gem. She's usually all for tasty snacks, but she chose to go against her instincts after—
Ugh, is that the best example you could come up with? Anyway, Paimon's—
No, your decision was valid. However, it's also valid to interpret that as a decision that you only made under emotional duress. The human heart is like a raft in a vast and empty ocean. We convince ourselves that we're in control, but in truth, those who use fear to lead others astray must pay for that crime. A moment, please. If I'm not mistaken, the space ahead should be the central area of this place. But the door has been locked. Rather than confront Dujier, I think it's more important right now for us to rescue as many society members as possible. You guys should wait here. We'll try to open the door and check out some other spots.
Uzil.
Open the door. Would we have to do something? Forget it. Paimon's just gonna do some trial in it. Whoa! It's turning! Is it because we touched this thing? Look, the other side's open! Let's go.
Let's begin. Have a safe trip.
What does Rashleigh's skill actually do? I have no idea what any of his stuff does. Combo? What? Wow, that's still pretty expensive. He's still a catalyst user, alright. Okay, so that thing literally just gives a buff. Aligned. Oh. it's basically the same as what Ito does.
Hold that pose!
More, please.
Quietly now.
Smile!
Let's begin.
Or N1C is the best combination, it seems. The last hit is way too slow and not strong enough to be worth it.
It's so high! We're not gonna have to climb all the way up, are we?
Activate the mechanism in front of us first, just like before. Let's see if that changes anything.
Ooh! The water level's gone way up! So that's how we'll make it to the top.
More, please. These should be the prison cells. Lots of empty cells in here. Dugier's probably...
Let's still rescue the ones who got left behind, though. Hey, it's all right now.
No, I won't try to leave anymore. So close to me. I don't want any trouble.
No, we're not gonna do that.
We won't be able to get through to her right now. Not with the stress. I'd also guess there are many others here who are more or less like her. Let's let the guards take care of them for now and keep pushing forward.
All right.
The door's open. Huh. Maybe it's His Grace. I'll go take a look.
I leave this area to you. Make sure to bring...
Understood. And please take care as well, Your Grace.
Just focus on the tasks you've been given. Let's go back. We have unfinished business. That mechanism from the first room. Maybe we'll also need to hold it in place using the same device to... Don't forget to bring these along.
This seems to be something like...
This is a surveillance terminal. The information collected by the surveillance... I'm sure Dugier really enjoyed sitting here and making his pe...
Oh, damn it!
I must confess to being furious. To think that they remember their names. Fasal, and today you will see with your own eyes what'll happen to those. Go on, Avis. Pierce his skull with the thorn in your... Of course, you will do it one drop at a time. Let it do its magic again, and don't stop until you've pushed all of it in.
Thistle. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Oh, shut your wretched mouths! My rules are the paramount law of this place. Only more pain will come to those who dare to disobey.
That's enough, Dugier. Your rabid screams have been beyond nauseating.
Is that His Grace?
Ah, Wriothesley. I knew you would come. Must you still
I
refuse
told you
to
I'd
let
come.
me be? Did I not spell everything out for you already? What's so blasphemous about sharing a slice of the cake with...
It would seem that you can't see the difference between sharing and looting. And on top of that, look at your people. Are they not starving as you wolfed out?
You. Stop acting all high and mighty like some hero of justice! Have you forgotten? Nobody in this blasted fortress is innocent! We are all. What's so wrong about punishing those who deserve to be punished? It's what they've always deserved. And please, are you
That's
really
not the
gonna
point
tell
of
me
being
that you
imprisoned,
care
in my
about their
opinion.
lives and well-being when you just need a supply of labor to keep this place running?
Sadly, you're wrong on both counts. Unlike you, I've never seen them as currency. The fortress is not only a place for confinement, but also a place for rebirth. Just as people are free to give in to the darkness within their hearts, they are also free to seek redemption and a new beginning. They may have made mistakes, but they are still human beings with people and things that they cherish. And most importantly, they should always retain the freedom to choose their own path once they've reflected on their past misdeeds. But you're destroying their spirits with fear, taking their freedom away so that they'll be... And you say that's what they've always deserved? You are nothing.
He's really mad.
You think me arrogant, Wriothesley. Well, I think you're too young, and nobody actually sees this fortress as any kind of just a wonderful place. See it for what it is. A dumping ground of pain and misery. No prisoner will listen to you out of gratitude of their hearts. The whip is the only way to make them obey. Had you been just one step slower, I would have already taken control of all the garden mechs in this place. Your vision gives you strength. But how long will it hold against these powerful constructs?
You talk big, but in the end,
Long
you know
enough.
nothing outside of power and control. In that case, let me give you a small taste of what real power looks like.
Propagate! Ah! Let my name echo in song!
Game's up. Time's over. Busted.
Say cheese!
Get a little chilly.
Germinate! Time to shine!
Here comes the catch.
Hard-hitting exclusive!
If you think fear can control everything, well then, terrify me.
Don't high road me. You're just another crook. And it's time you got treated like
He's
one.
got a gun. He took the thing Akihiko did in the movie for Persona 3.
What's the matter? Too scared to shoot straight?
I'm warning you. Unauthorized punishment and torture are prohibited here. As the Duke, you should set an example.
Funny how that slipped my mind. Well, from this point on, you can forget about that rule. The rules of the fortress are there to keep the likes of you in check. But if the Duke wants somebody dead, he needs no justification. Understood?
Isn't that a bit of irony?
Sorry for taking so long. Did I keep you waiting?
No, not at all. Paimon didn't know you were so considerate.
If you ask me, I'd say I actually feel very helpless. There's no way that I could truly empathize with. I could comfort and compensate them all I want, but it might still not be enough. I have to take responsibility for it, as does the fortress. Yeah, it's the least that we could do.
So, do you have a plan for how you're gonna deal with him yet?
Oh, Dugier? I've already got an idea. For now, I think I'll do nothing. I think it's a very fitting punishment for him to have to imagine the sorts of punishments that will soon be coming his way. He'll be left in the dark with regards to both the dates and the details of his punishment. Of course, that's not to say that I'll be letting him off scot-free. It's not often that I actually get the chance to be creative with my punishments. I'm going to talk to the members of the society. He'll get a chance to experience everything that he's ever inflicted on them.
Paimon didn't know you could also be so harsh. Looks like she should watch her tongue when she's around you in the future.
Why do you think I'd do that kind of thing to you? You offend me, Paimon. Anyway, jokes aside, thank you so much for all of your help. There's still a lot for me to take care of, so how about this? I'll treat you to a meal in 2 days at the
God
Coupon
damn
Cafeteria.
it. Can't I
You
just
should have
go
a better
home
handle
now?
on things by then.
No, Paimon's had enough of that place.
Don't worry, it won't be the same old welfare meal. I'll make the necessary arrangements.
Oh, then you've got yourself a deal.
There you are.
Anything I can help you with? Dr. Cole, reporting. We can do this!
I betcha the Genshin programmers are really proud of the algorithm they made to make this whole time animation thing work.
I wonder when I'll be as...
Maybe I'm projecting. But this annoying fucking clock should definitely be skippable.
Ah, you're here.
Paimon never forgets about meals. Even if the traveler forgets, Paimon will remind her for sure. That's not what Paimon meant at all.
I'm a little confused, actually.
Hey, not you too!
Jokes aside, I've got some good news. After taking a look, the doctors have let me know that it shouldn't be too difficult to extract the thorns, which means that everyone should be able to recover after a period of rest. As for their mental recoveries, most are making good progress as well. We've added a few who were more severely affected to a special observation list.
You sure got everything taken care of, Risley.
I try my best. After all, it's my duty to take care of everything that happens within my territory. Please, go ahead. Ah, that's a bit of a long story. I once had a similar experience. It had to do with the host family I lived with as a child. I was an orphan, adopted by a couple with a great deal of love in their hearts. I had many siblings, and we all adored. Once we were older, Mom and Dad would turn us over to be individually adopted by families of greater means, and go on to adopt more young children. They were perfect parents. Or so I thought.
And then?
And then, I found out we were merely raised as livestock. Once we had reached a certain age, our parents would bring us to the market for sale. All children that were sold would leave the house, and nobody would know what became of them. As for those who didn't sell, did you know I once considered myself an extremely lucky child? And all of my friends, I was also not the first to find out about the truth. All those who found out before me were simply added to the disposal pile. I could never shake the feeling of irony every time I juxtaposed their tragic ends against our parents' adoring smiles. Yes, like the society, my parents created a facade of joy, lied to satiate their desires, and even employed incredibly cruel methods to keep... They did all of that, but never considered how their actions would utterly ruin all the children they... But I did. So in the end, I killed them and set all of the remaining children free.
Is that how he got his vision?
I was convicted for my crimes and exiled to the fortress of Meripede. My methods were extreme, yes, but I was still a teenager at the time. I'd been betrayed by those I trusted most. My doubt and helpless anger pushed me forward until I got what I deserved. It's all right. You don't have to tell me what you think. I've already committed to this path, regardless of what anyone may say about it. The least I can do is to make sure that the same tragedy will not happen again in my new home.
Sorry to disturb you, everyone.
Oh, it's Avis and Fasol. Are you two feeling better yet?
It was all because you arrived in time. I managed to...
We came here on impulse today, because we were hoping that you'd be able to lend us a hand.
Please, go on right ahead. I'll do my best to help.
Are we going soon?
Within reason, of course.
It's... I'd like to be...
Yeah,
we met each
we're
other
just
through the
swimming
society
right
and
over
both
there.
fell into Dujie's trap. But even during our time there, we never doubted each other. We always believed that Dujier was manipulating us, trying to make us mistrust each other. And after this incident, We've come to believe that we've...
You could say we managed to make the best out of a bad situation, but we're still both prisoners. And we also aren't sure if the fortress is the best place to host something so celebratory. So we are just wondering, is our request a...
You're right in that the fortress has never hosted a wedding, but that's no reason to say no, is it? I'll help you make the arrangements. If you need anything special shipped in from the...
We can't thank you enough. We are actually also planning to stay here after the conclusion of our sentences.
Yeah, we've already made tons of special memories here.
Special memories.
So now it'd be too... And we have full confidence in the fortress's future with you at the helm.
Your trust is the highest form of praise.
Hey, loosen up a bit. Shouldn't you be the happiest man in Teyvat to hear that people would like to stay of their own free will?
Yeah. I'll always take a genuine expression of faith over any obligation to obey.
Like, fuck.
Ad Astra. Thank you for completing. Ad Astra.
Should have respawned by now.
The show begins!
Happy to oblige.
We'll see about that.
Take flight!
Huh. Just normal Podisaurus. I should be collecting those as well. Need a lot of them.
May I present?
How brilliant!
Too late for regrets.
Strike a pose! With praise!
Life goes on.
May I present?
How dare you! Strike a pose! Let my name echo in
Sacred name, fortune preserver.
Truth repeats its course. My apologies. Shower me with praise. Strike a pose.
Wheel of life.
We'll see about that.
Shower me with praise.
Dare to mess with me?
I don't actually know where all the flowers are for Neil. The plan was to just merely wait it out every day until I had enough.
Some people with actual competence for once.
The plants here are growing so well. Just wish that some people would actually do their jobs.
Today's cleaning is already finished. Rezadoran! Soretsu! Ha! Ya! Ya! Ha! Ya! Ha! Strike a pose! Dare to mess with me? Opening box of Adepti-Trix. We'll see about that. Let my name echo in song! Take flight! Too late for regrets. My apologies. We'll see about that. Take flight. Wheel of life. Dare to mess with me? Whirling snow! Shower me with praise! Life goes on. Too late for regrets. My apologies. Strike a pop! Go! Whirling snow!
Formative or Quicken reactions will generally appreciate those last 10 levels more than regular attack scalers. It'll be a lot of continuous domain farming, so if farming an AR-45 domain feels too hard, don't hesitate to join co-op or get a higher AR level friend to help you. I and my Theory Crafter friend Migo both have Discord servers with communities of people who are willing to help you out there, so feel free to join in using the links below and ask around for help. Tip number 2 is to manage your artifact XP. Related to leveling artifacts, you may not have a lot of fodder to start with to level your pieces, especially when you're not as farming artifacts before AR-45. And even when you do, and you start leveling up those 4 and 5-star pieces, you can easily find yourself running out of fodder. It can take a lot of artifact XP and Mora to bring a 5-star artifact from +0 all the way to +20. The amount of XP needed per level increases as well, so it's important to not waste all your XP on artifacts that aren't showing good potential and recognize when to cut your losses, particularly at the +12 or +16 mark where you need massive amounts of XP just to get the next roll. If a piece isn't looking good by that point, you can hold off on leveling it further and wait for a better piece to come along. If you can afford to, feed the worst piece. Feeding leveled up artifacts to others is one way to recycle XP, but note that it also has lower XP returns past a certain level, so its value can diminish, especially for artifacts at higher levels. A trick for early leveling is feeding a +4 5-star piece, which is always going to give enough XP to bring another 5-star piece from +0 to +4, so you can find out those initial rolls and waste less artifact XP. But another main source of artifact XP that you can collect without spending resin are actually locations in the overworld that drop low-quality artifacts, and these also refresh daily. This can take 10 to 20 minutes every day, depending on how meticulous you want to be, and there are definitely a lot of YouTube guides that get you lead around. In my first few months of playing, I made sure to add this to my daily routine if I had the time. These drops can really add up over time, and they helped boost the rate I could level my artifacts without having to rely on artifact drops in domains where I had no choice but to spend resin. In fact, you can even convert these artifact drops into Mora by destroying them in the inventory. You can also get artifact XP fodder from your Serenity pod if your trust rank is high enough, but if you need the other stuff in there, then prioritize those of course. There are also artifact vendors around the open world that you can buy 2-star pieces from, but they're 2,000 Mora each, so I personally would just rely on the free artifact route unless you're somehow stacked with Mora already. My next tip is to set practical expectations. Any longtime player will know that artifact farming takes time and resin because it's all gacha. You might be seeing all these build showcases and cracked artifacts, but those really take a long time to accumulate. Always remember, it's perfectly normal and okay to start and stay with lower quality pieces for a while. And on that note, when you're just starting out your serious farming goals, don't completely ignore the 4-star drops, okay? 4-star pieces with the right stats can be temporarily better than a 5-star piece with the wrong ones. You might also miss out on getting pieces with rare main stats like Elemental Mastery or Elemental Damage bonuses just because you're not paying attention to 4-star pieces from your domain farming. Of course, longtime players will showcase 5-star builds and scoff at the idea of using lower quality pieces, but when you're not at that stage yet, you have to be practical with what you get. For some specific sets, which we'll tackle in a bit, the 4-piece set bonus itself can be more valuable than the actual quality of the piece, so even just using 4 stars in the meantime can help achieve those bonuses. And speaking of main stats, there is one big general principle that can guide you in every stage of your artifact farming. Stats over sets. There's a saying, stats over sets, which holds a lot of truth for those who really understand how hard it is to both farm through those layers of RNG while trying to optimize characters. Getting the right stats for most characters should be your first priority. Even when you're just starting out, you have mostly 4-star artifacts from your world progression and farming bosses, but not a lot of 5-star pieces yet. And a lot of them would be Gladiator's Finale and Wanderer's Troop pieces from boss fights, or the odd other sets you might have picked up in your initial attempts to farm. Whatever the case, learn to prioritize the stats. That comes with understanding what stats your characters value, of course. By the time you're taking artifact farming more seriously, that will also be the point where learning more fundamentals of character mechanics, stats, and building will come into play. But But with RNG working against you, find out how you can make your characters functional enough rather than shooting for optimizing stats too soon. For example, are both an attack and EM main stat sands applicable for this character, like with Dainari or Alhaitham or even Fischl? Can you settle with an attack goblet first before moving on to an elemental damage goblet? In a lot of cases, yes. And just as a quick note, if you need ideas on what main stats to look for, you can of course go looking for guides, but there's also in-game data that you can consult to help point you in the right direction. Anyway, don't get too hung over substats right away as well. It's generally better to have a piece with the right main stat but poor substats than a piece with a completely wrong main stat but good substats. On the other hand, some 4-piece sets are special. The best examples of this are the Viridescent Veneer and Deepwood Memories, which can both shred the enemy's elemental resistance, thereby amplifying the damage they receive. These are special effects that are not just for the user, but for supporting other teammates as well. The Instructor and Exile sets are also very good support sets with team-wide buffs, though they don't have any 5-star equivalent. As such, these are particular 4-star quality artifacts that I would recommend saving and using even in in-game. For such sets, it's a bigger priority to complete the set and then refine the stats later on. Knowing which pieces and or sets to initially aim for are just so you can equip the character to make them good enough so that progressing through the story, boss fights, and domain farming will be less painful while you don't have a wide variety of artifacts yet. Once you understand that principle, you're ready to start considering set bonus optimizations. But before we continue optimizing artifacts, let's optimize some trim. Check out this Kazuha hoodie. It's by artist Lixizu, the sponsor of today's video, who creates beautiful, high-quality merch with subtle yet stylish designs like these Genshin Impact pins. You've got Ganyu, Ayaka, Raiden, even Senora and Dainslift, and hoodies designed after Kazuha, Sino, and Xiao. I personally really love my hoodie. It's got thick and comfortable fabric, it's got pockets, and of course this beautiful embroidered design on its chest. The pins are also really lovely with a gold lining and can easily go on your bag or on your jacket or whatever. So if you're interested in shopping some really great merch and supporting Lixizu's art, check out her shop link in the description and use this coupon code SEBI for a 5% discount. Thank you Lixizu for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Tip number 5 is to consider rainbow or 2-piece set builds versus 4-piece sets. When it comes to putting together artifact sets, 2-piece and 4-piece set bonuses are there mainly to provide more stat value for your builds. For 2-piece sets with basic bonuses like attack percent or elemental damage percent, those are always nice to have. Except for those special sets we mentioned earlier, the advantage of most 4-piece sets is just a bigger boost to the stat value you get compared to 2-piece sets. What you'll eventually realize is that most of the time, even 2-piece set combinations can easily get close, equal, or in some cases even surpass the potential of a 4-piece build, and that's through the power of substats. 4-piece sets are harder to farm, as you not only need to get those 4 pieces of the same set, you also have to get the right main stats on them, then eventually consider if they have good substats as well. Contrast that to 2-piece combos, or even 2-piece plus rainbow sets, which are easier to complete since you remove that restriction of sticking to a full set. For example, let's take the Gilded Dreams set. The 2-piece bonus gives 80 EM, and the 4-piece bonus gives EM and attack based on your team composition, so let's say it gives you 100 EM and 14% attack. All in all, the 2-piece and 4-piece bonuses give additional 180 EM and 14% attack. Compare that to if you have a 2-piece bonus of EM sets, giving an additional 160 EM in total. So if you compare that, the difference is really 20 EM and 14% attack. That means your 2-piece build will only need about 4 substat rolls to practically have the same value as a 4-piece Gilded Dreams set, and even more substats will make it start to surpass the 4-piece set. And if you're using it for a Hyper Bloom, Burgeon, or Bloom trigger where attack is important, then the primary is just 20 EM or 1 substat roll. On the other hand, subsets are also concerned with boosting their own character stats, but the stat value they offer is so incredibly high that the gap between 2-piece combos and the 4-piece set is often very significant. The main example right now is the 4-piece Marechaussee Hunter, which offers a whopping 36% crit rate under the right trigger conditions. Now those are very specific cases to certain characters, but for the most part I've learned that not every character needs a full 4-piece set of their best in slot, especially when the difference between a really good 2-piece set can be quite small. For example, if we take a look at some theory-crafted calcs over on Kitchen Mains, Xiao's ideal full sets are 4-piece Vermilion and 4-piece Marechaussee now, but but the difference between those and a 2-piece combo can be anywhere between 2% and 9%, which can be overcome by 1 to 5 substats. If you take a Mount Rosaria, she has some full set options like Lava Walker, Gilded Dreams, Emblem, but at lower ER requirements, they are only 1 to 2% better than 2-piece Blizzard Stray or 2-piece Noblesse combo. So in such cases, it might just be more efficient to aim for the 2-piece set, and if the gap between the 4-piece set is quite important to you, then that's something you can take care of later on when you've already sufficiently built enough of your characters. Now some of you might be thinking, but isn't it more efficient to go for a full 4-piece because you're focused on farming one domain anyway? Well, you can't get lucky going all in on one domain and coming out with a good full set, but if you find yourself stuck or struggling, then maybe you actually have really good pieces lying around that can complement the domains that you've been farming, such as 2-piece Glad or 2-piece Wanderers, or pieces you've previously farmed and such. And if you do, then it's ultimately more efficient to settle with that for now. Don't forget that there's always room for an off-piece as well, whether for a 4-piece set or 2-piece combo, most especially if it's the right elemental damage bonus or elemental mastery piece, which are harder to get. So don't discard or disregard potential non-set pieces that have good stats. The next tip is to determine resin-efficient farming habits. There's what I and many other guide makers will label as a resin-efficient domain or methods for farming artifacts, which especially have a lot of benefits when you're in the process of building multiple characters. So what is a resin-efficient domain? That's when the 2-piece sets have near universal applicability that you can slap them on most characters, and even better when the 4-piece set or sets are used by so many characters too. For a long time until now, the Emblem Shimenawa domain in Inazuma is still considered a really good domain to farm in. The Emblem of Severed Fate set is the best in slot or one of the best in slots for many burst-reliant units. And its 2-piece bonus, which gives ER, is always useful to help reach good ER stats for so many units as well. The Shimenawa 4-piece set doesn't have the same level of widespread applicability, but its 2-piece bonus gives attack, which is a staple for any attack scaling unit. Another domain that can become extremely resin efficient is Fontaine's Marechaussee and Golden Troop domain, most particularly when you get Furina. The Golden Troop is Furina's best in slot, but as for the Marechaussee Hunter, a few characters can enable its effects thanks to their own innate HP changing mechanics, while most other pre-Fontaine characters can't. But with Furina's team HP drain, she can basically make the Marechaussee very strong or even the best set for many DPSs. So with this domain, you're effectively farming for Furina and many other DPSs you can pair with her. Now on the flip side, let's talk about what's considered less resin efficient, and those are domains that are more niche in value. You might really want one of the sets that it offers, but you'll have little to no use for the other set it's paired with. Let's take the Husk of Opulent Dreams and Ocean Cube Clam domain. The former is the top set for Ito and Noelle, defense scaling Geo DPSs, and the latter is for certain healers like Kokomi and Chi-Chi. However, for it to feel efficient, you'd need to have those specific characters for both sets, which is already a narrow list in the first place. If your main concern is horizontally building your characters, I'll always recommend going for more universal sets first. But thankfully, the introduction of the Strongbox and its updates over time have made artifact farming a whole lot easier, and I would argue even made certain domains just almost or absolutely not worth bothering with anymore. Our next tip is all about the Strongbox and how it is your friend. There was a time when the Strongbox felt like a scam, especially when it was first introduced. The premise was that you can only create 5-star artifacts, and for every 3 pieces, you can exchange it for 1 5-star piece. What made it unremarkable at first is that its first 4 artifact choices were quite limited. It Glad, Wanderer's Troop, Noblesse, and Bloodstained Chivalry. But thankfully, it's been expanded now to 22 sets, which include all Mondstadt, Liyue, and Inazuma-based artifacts as of now. If there's a set you want but don't like the domain it's in, the Strongbox is your best friend. You can single out a specific artifact set without necessarily having to sink so much resin into their more niche domain, just by feeding trash artifacts. Not only that, but it's been established that there's a higher chance of getting a piece that starts with 4 stat lines in the Strongbox compared to domain. So there are a few ways to use the Strongbox. First, parallel set farming. Farm a set that you want that's exclusively in a domain, and then feed the trash to another set you also want in the Strongbox. This can be especially helpful in diversifying your build options between new and old artifact sets. You can also go for hyper-focusing. If the set is found in both the Strongbox and the domain, can farm its domain and feed the trash pieces into the strongbox towards the same set. This would likely be done through a DPS you're hyper-investing in, like with the Crimson Witch set, or for a set that has a lot of users, like the Emblem set, or if you just want to increase your chances of getting a rare stat and set combo, like farming the VB domain and strongboxing it to get an EM piece for your Kazuha. You can also just use the strongbox for perfecting builds. If you already have functional builds in your characters but want to reach a higher ceiling, then just keep going for a specific set there that can replace your existing good pieces. Whatever way you do plan on using it, just know that you can get a lot of value from the strongbox, so don't hesitate to try it out. Tip number 8 is to stop obsessing over crit value. For some DPSs, like a Hyper Bloom or Burgeon Trigger that mainly cares about stacking EM, crit isn't important, but for a lot of other characters, it is. So much so that there's still this notion that having as much crit as possible is the best metric to judge a godly or cracked artifact piece. A piece's crit rate and crit damage stats can be combined through this formula to get its crit value, like in the sampling calculated for you, and a lot of players rank artifacts based on how much CV they have. You know what? I get it. I mean, having that jacked up crit damage looks so juicy and nice, and it's impressive when the crit rate stat looks like it should be a crit damage stat. Crit is definitely an important stat for crit scaling DPSs, but it's not the only valuable stat. Getting taken too far by CV obsession is unhealthy, and it can lead to unnecessary frustration, or worse, it might cause you to undervalue artifacts that are actually good despite having a lower CV. I like to take a more holistic look at artifacts pieces and their stat quality, and I always recommend my viewers to do so too. Characters with reactions like EM rolls. Attack scaling characters in Bennett-less teams really like attack rolls. HP is still valuable for HP scalers. Getting enough energy recharge is very important for many characters to ensure smooth rotations, and so on. If your artifact's rolls go in relevant stats aside from crit rate and crit damage, that's still totally a win. I have an older video series about holistically evaluating and optimizing artifacts based not on their crit value, but their overall substat count. As a quick overview, you essentially count how many useful substats are on each piece, where you use the average roll of a stat as your unit. If you want to know what substat goals are considered good to high to godly investment, I also discuss it there, and this can also help you evaluate whether to keep farming for a character or move on to another. Anyway, this method is a means of quantifying your build quality, where even if you want to aim for a good crit ratio, typically 1:2 crit rate to crit damage, stats like attack, EM, and ER all contribute to the overall strength and investment of the build. As my final tip, you can try out different artifact or build-related tools. In-game, there's the Artifact Autologger. You can set up autolog plans for artifact sets. Newer players can look well into some of it first, but this tool might be helpful in the long run. It's really a matter of learning which substats are relevant to the characters you're farming for. You can look at it as a good way to kickstart your artifact stat knowledge, or put into practice some of the tips we've gone through here. On the other hand, if you're an older player with lots of artifact farming experience, this tool might not look very useful, but you could also use it to auto-log rare main stats like EM or elemental damage goblets, or even hyper-focus on targeting certain stats for perfecting your build. Now, the next tools are community-made tools, and I'll be linking them all in the description, with this next one being an ER calculator. It essentially helps you calculate the optimal ER needed for a character in specific teams and combat scenarios. I find this tool really
Rena's pets are such instigators.
Stats don't show anything for ER, besides players using ER sands on certain characters, and though guides often suggest ER ranges for characters, this ER calculator can help you get a more precise recommendation based on the scenario. There's also a Genshin Optimizer, which analyzes your artifacts and prescribes optimized builds. When you get to the site, you'll immediately see they have easy tutorials to help you get started. It does need a lot of input about your artifacts, but if you're trying to choose between certain pieces or builds to see what would output the best damage, then the optimizer can do that for you. Another is the Anchor Network, which I personally like this to check builds from other servers, because you can easily display your entire character's build within a card and even enable substat breakdown on pieces, which makes for really easy counting and evaluation. Linked to that is the Akasha system, where you can view build leaderboards or just browse other people's builds. It can also rank your build in its database, but don't sweat it because Genshin isn't a competitive game after all. So if you're interested in tools like these, then you can go ahead and join theory crafting community discords like Pitching Maze, since that's where you can usually hear about such tools from other players. And that's going to be it for these artifact farming tips. Though these are tips for general artifact farming, remember that each character has their own specific considerations that will affect your farming goals and priorities. Referring to character guides, and I have a ton if you need them, can certainly help you in that regard. But at the end of the day, just remember that it's a process. It can be a one too. So, this far, comment down below an artifact tip you'd like to share with your fellow players, or simply share something about your own artifact experience. I'd love to know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon.
The hell?
Take care!
Whirling snow! Yeah!
It's my favorite game in this series, and even though I don't like Breath of the Wild nearly as much, I still think it's an amazing game. With that out of the way, there are still plenty of fundamental gameplay elements that are simply missing from these two games, which I think made the older Zelda games feel as polished and enjoyable as they did. We're going to be going over some of the things missing from these two Zelda games, and I think all of these
Tears of the Kingdom yet?
Zelda games even...
No.
Oh.
Why?
I just want to know the performance of the new CPU.
Yeah, I plan on doing it soon, just not right now. Oh dang it, Layla needs this too. Well, Layla's already good at level 70, I guess. Then again, I did already levels 80 Biona of all people.
better than they already are, or
You know
at the
what?
very least, should
I'm trying out Tears of the Kingdom right now.
One thing that I think is missing from Zelda now, and made a lot of Zelda games as iconic as they were, are
I'm
the
tired of Genshin.
companions who followed Link throughout his adventure.
What? Oh, you're still here. Yes, you heard me.